How's it going, everyone? It's your boy Dak908, aka the Dig Dug himself, Moss Hunters and Moss Hunnies. Welcome back. Moss Hunter Generations here, and today we're going to be talking about the Savage Deviljho. So now, if you don't know, there is the Deviljho, and then there's the Savage Deviljho. And you're probably wondering what's the difference, because when you look at them right off the rip, I mean, they look exactly the same. Let me explain slightly what a Savage Deviljho is. Now, a Savage Deviljho, from what is to be understood, is similar to a normal Deviljho, albeit if you remember how Deviljho gets enraged when he's pissed off and he kind of gets a little red or whatever. Well, Savage Deviljho is literally a enraged Deviljho by himself in his normal form. He himself can also be enraged. On top of, you know, this added ability of already being pissed off, he has a lot of different mounting abilities. Like standard Deviljho will mount you and he'll maul you, of course. Well, I guess I should say maul instead. He'll maul you in whatever fashion and whatnot. But Savage Deviljho has many different mauling attacks. He'll do a tail sweep into a maul, and you'll be surprised at how you got hit by such an attack. It's pretty outlandish, but I will say one thing about Deviljho. The best thing about Savage Deviljho is that when he himself gets enraged, he has like this black reddish haze around his face. And I will say back in the day, because I'm going to bring up back in the day Savage Deviljho first, because I will say right off the rip, this Savage Deviljho has been nerfed. Savage Deviljho from back in the day, he would actually be a bit more vicious than this Deviljho. I want to say it's simply because he's high rank. I'm going to give it to the fact that he's high rank. I do believe that Savage Deviljho initially was a G rank monster back in the day, and when he was enraged and he had the black haze on his face, his breath attacks would extend much longer than normal. Like, let's say for standard Deviljho breath is like a 10 feet. You know, the dragon is like 10 feet, then he'll sweep it. Savage Deviljho breath would be like 30, maybe even 40 feet. It is ridiculous range. I remember the first time I was fighting a Deviljho. The first time I fought a Deviljho, I underestimated how long the breath was and actually got caught with it, and it sucked a lot. But that's enough, a little bit of history. Let's actually talk about what everyone's here to talk about, or what everyone's here for. Now, Savage Deviljho, if you're looking at weaknesses, he is technically weak to literally like everything. You go in here with every element you would like, and you'll do considerable damage against him. Albeit though, if you want to do the most damage, you might want to come here with either Thunder or Dragon, or no, just come here with Thunder. Cause I thought about it. He's weak to everything, so come here with Thunder more over anything else. That's where you're gonna get your best hit zones and whatnots. But one thing I should talk about though, when he is enraged rather, he has different, you know, like the multipliers for damage differ a little bit. Now, elementally, they're the exact same, unlike the Alatron, whereas the Alatron's in the air or on the ground, certain things do more, certain things do less. But with him, it's not elemental damage that does more, does less. When he's in the standard mode, not enraged, let's say, for all intents and purposes, let's say you have a lance that has 220 attack, much like the one I have right here, and you poke him in the body, right? You poke him in the body. You'll do X amount of damage. Let's say you do 100 damage, right? You poke him in the body unenraged. But when he is enraged and you poke him in the body, you'll, instead of doing 100 damage, you'll do like 85 damage. Like, it's kind of like that. His body itself gets harder when he's enraged. So you do physically less damage than you normally would. Now, I will say that this is across the board for all weapon types. So if you are a hammer or a, you know, cutting weapon or a gunner, the same kind of thing, you know, extends to you as well. So if you're doing 100 naturally, when he's enraged, you'll probably do like 90 or 85, some along those lines. Now, it sounds kind of weird, but that's kind of his little gimmick thing. He's when he's enraged, he's more armored, which is true. So if you are using a cutting weapon and whatnot, and you are maybe teetering between green and blue sharpness, you're gonna have a tough time, because the only thing you're really gonna be able to actually hit it are his hind legs at precise, you know, angles. So that's that. But let's move to his weapons and his armor, because they're actually very good. I will say one thing about Deviljho equipment is that the equipment itself has always been really interesting, arguably some of the best. But I want to say it's even better now than it was before, in my honest opinion. Now, Savage Deviljho, his armor differs from regular Deviljho because Savage Deviljho gives you sharpness +2, and razor sharp. Now you have a negative ability in that of hunger, so you're gonna have double hunger, meaning you're gonna be hungrier. Excuse me, your stamina is gonna deplete twice as fast. But it's only 11 points into it. You can put 2 gem in. Excuse me, you actually can't gem in. I apologize. There are no gems in the standard Deviljho armor. But you can, use a talisman and gem in with a talisman, and you should be able to be fine with it. Or if you're fine with having double stamina down, that's no problem. Run your build with that. But I want to say the coolest thing about that, his armor having razor sharp and sharpness +2, is that his weapons are really good too. Now, one thing that Deviljho always kind of lacked on was weapons that you could totally use over other monster weapons. Whereas Deviljho, it kind of makes you wonder, should I use this or should I use Alatron weapons? Because the Alatron weapons, they don't have too much attack. Most of them end up being around like 180. Same thing with Savage Deviljho. There's a couple of weapons that has a little bit more attack, but the sharpness to its weapons are really good. I mean, coming with sharpness +2, you're gonna meet white in most of his weapons. So let's say, for all intents and purposes, let's talk about his greatsword, because I don't know, I always liked the Deviljho greatsword. The Deviljho greatsword, right off the rip, I mean, you get 50 dragon right off the rip, and if you're wearing the armor to go with it, you're gonna get some white sharpness in there as well. Max out all the way to the bottom, you're gonna end up with 180 attack, 60 dragon, and a pretty decent amount of white for that of, a greatsword. Minus the sharpness +2, you have a pretty decent amount of blue. So, I mean, it's still, like, really good. A lot of, like, these stats stem to all of his weapons. Some of these weapons have even better stats. Some have way more white sharpness. And the dragon is normally really high up there. Now, some of his weapons, the dragon isn't all that high. You have some that have 60, you have some that have 50, some that have 40. You have others that kind of stem to around, like, 20, lower end numbers like that. But all in all, I mean, depending on like what you like, maybe his weapons might be for you. I mean, I really do like his weapons. Now, granted, I will say that his savage weapons are on the other path of the Deviljho weapons. The standard Deviljho weapons have more attack, while the savage has less attack, more sharpness, more element, things like that. So it's on you to pick what's actually better for your playstyle, I suppose. But I mean, that's pretty much what I can tell you about the weapons and the gear. I mean, the gear is pretty decent. I like it. I like it a lot. You might not like it, but I do. But let's actually talk about how to fight this guy. Now, Savage Deviljho, he's a beast all on its own. So let me further go into what he can and cannot do. Now, like I said before, Savage Deviljho is a standard Deviljho, whom of which is actually even more enraged or more savage, I guess, than that of the other. Like I said prior, he has the ability to mount you and maul you in extraordinary fashions. He'll mount you by swing like a nonchalant swing of his tail. He'll mount you with multiple mounting attacks. He has all sorts of different ways in which he can mount you. It's kind of crazy. He does a lot of mounting, so you kind of have to be careful with it. Sometimes he'll get you consistently with the mounting. Sometimes he won't, but he'll mount more often than not than that of a standard Deviljho. Everything about him is actually just boosted. There's a couple of behaviors that he exhibits. I can't talk today, guys. I apologize. There's a couple of behaviors that today. Oh my! I really can't talk. I can't. I just tried to mix my aside with what I was. He does things standard Deviljho doesn't normally do. Not too many things. So if you are versed in fighting standard Deviljho, you should be okay. Adjust a couple of things you normally would do for this guy to be aware of a couple of changes that he innately has. You should be okay. Granted, he has more attack, he has more, health, pretty much more everything. He's a better Deviljho. He's a variant, not so much a deviant, and not so much a subspecies. If anything, I want to say that he's just a Deviljho who's probably going through some stuff in his life. A standard Deviljho who's going through some stuff in his life. There's also a hyper savage Deviljho. You can't fight him just yet. He will be DLC in a quest. I don't know what quest it is. I can't remember because when I fought him, he was in Japanese. But the Hyper Savage Deviljho armor is completely different from standard Deviljho armor. It has like, I think 20 slots or something crazy like that. Yes, like 20 slots, like something crazy. I think there's skills to go with it. I can't remember. I just remember there being like insane amount of slots. We'll go over that later when we actually get to it. But that's pretty much it. That's Savage Deviljho. I mean, he's like, they toned him down quite a bit. I mean, honestly, this would be a better video in Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate or Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate because there was so much more they did with him because he was a G-rank monster after all. Now he's just a standard guy just doing his own thing. He is a Deviljho who is a bit more hardier and stronger than your average Deviljho. but honestly that's it. His range for the breath, I don't really know if it's been extended too much. It might have been. That's probably how I got carded right there. But it's a far cry from what his G rank variant would do in 4 and 3 Ultimate. But with that being said, like I said, if this was the other games, it'd be a better one. But this is the one right here that we have. So just look at him as a standard Deviljho with, you know, like more stat increases and the ability to actually garner special equipment if you just so happen to beat him and get his splattered hide, which is a special material that you can use to make his weapons and some of his armor. But that's it, guys. That's all I got for you. It's been your boy Dak908, aka the Dig Dug himself. If you guys like this video, let me know what I did right, or if you didn't like it, let me know what I did wrong. Furious Rajang will be next, because Furious Rajang is a little bit more different than standard Rajang. Even though it's only high rank, there's still a little bit more to talk about with Furious Rajang than I think there was with Savage Deviljho. But it's been your boy Dak908, aka the Dig Dug himself. Have a great day, everyone, and with that being said, may the Desire Sensor forever be in your favor.